Hey, it's Mary Love with Love the Green Real Estate Consulting Firm, and it is time for our weekly real estate update. It is April the 17th, 2020. So we're going to be talking about this past week, April the 10th through April the 17th, 2020. I'm going to pull up a chart and a tablet table that I'm going to talk about. It is also on, I finished posting it on our blog at lovethegreen.org. So let's pull this up a second. All right, let's look and see what went on. This time, I decided to compare this week to the same week time last year in 2019, because this past week, Buncombe County allowed real estate agents to become essential workers. So that meant that we could get back out there and start showing houses. So we saw definitely an increase in showings. However, whether those showings turn into actually being under contract will be more prevalent next week. A few of those showed up this week, and we'll talk about that. So let's look at the chart that I have here. What I did is I took April 10th through 17th for 2020, which is in green, and compared it to April 10th through 17th, 2019, which is in blue. What is really interesting is this past week we picked up tremendously 77 new listings. Oh, so for this week's update, I am talking about just Buncombe County single family residential homes. So we had 77 that went active listed this week, as compared to last year, where we only had 2 active last year at the same time. I think the big reason that we had so many is because there was this pent-up uncertainty since the 1st of March, when this all started happening with COVID-19, about what was going on. And then when Buncombe County could not physically show listings, a lot of sellers decided to just wait and see what happens. And so once we were able to get back out there and do the physical showings, they went ahead and put houses that they had planned on putting on the market at the 1st or 2nd week of March. Those and everybody in between loaded up this week. Our pending, so that means houses that went under contract, that was a nice increase as well. Again, I think it's the same thing. People that had maybe looked at a house before there was a restriction on physical showings, or had looked at them a lot online and wanted to go see it physically, decided to go ahead and put those houses under contract. And same time last year, no houses went under contract to this week. I found that very interesting, but they didn't. So we see increases in new listings and houses going under contract compared to last year. Houses that were withdrew at this time period, typically for Buncombe County, we're going to have in any given week, for a variety of reasons, houses come off the market. It can be 10 to 18. We were right there, 15 and 12 this time last year, and this time. So that's really good, because that meant people that had their houses on the market were not pulling them off. So they were keeping them on the market to ride this out to see what happened. So that's great. Now, here's the biggest difference between last year and this year. Everything that we talked about before showed up and looked like oh, we are really doing well this week compared to last year. However, compared this in 2020 for April the 10th through 17th, we only had 22 closings as compared to 2019. Wait a minute, excuse me, we had 24 closings, and in 2019 we had 77 closings. Now I think that is a direct influence of buyers being a little more wary. A lot of people canceled contracts because their jobs, they weren't working right now, so they were just uncertain. Also, people decided to extend the closing dates because of what was going on. So next week, this will be really important to see if that picks up some. All right, wanted to have you look at some other statistics that follows pretty close to what we see in Asheville in general. Out of the 70 new listings that happened this past week, the majority of them were in the 300s, and then the rest were in the 400 and 500s. Last year, with the only 2 active listings that came up, there were 1,800 plus. Of the 62 that went under contract, most of them were in the 300,000s. Again, closings, what we're seeing, most of them were in the 300,000s. Same was true last year. So we're seeing a consistent trend that housing prices are continuing to rise in Buncombe County, and where we can actually say that the mean house's price is $285. The reality is you need to get into the 300s to get a house probably for what you're looking for. All right. Interesting, the houses that were taken off the market this past week were in the 200s, and I don't know why. That's an interesting trend to see if they'll come back on. Maybe they were taken off and we're going to fix them up a little bit, or maybe they decided to rent them. I'm not sure what happened in that price point. We'll have to check it out to see more. So we are seeing with the closings the effects of COVID-19 and all the businesses and jobs being shut down and closed right now. We probably won't know until next month on how long of effect that's going to have in our summer months. I will say this is right now, this past week, what has held true is sellers are not drastically reducing their prices, and they're not accepting crazy low prices. They're holding on what the market value was before all COVID-19 happened, and just to wait and see how that handles. Another thing that I noticed is cash is not king if you're going to still ask for 30 days. Sellers are like, if you're still asking for 30 days, I can get that in a closing with a loan, so not going to make you that great of a deal. However, if you're cash and you're closing in 15 days, I have seen sellers be willing to negotiate more with the price. So stay tuned. You can read our blog. Be sure to subscribe to the blog, to our YouTube channel, lovethegreen.org, and stay tuned for more updates of what's happening. Of course, if you got any questions, you can just email me, Mary@lovethegreen.org. All right, stay safe, be kind to yourself and to everyone else, and have a good weekend.